8 warning signs you won't live past 70. Are you unknowingly shaving years off your life? Brace yourself. We're about to hit you with hard truths. If you recognize any of the following 8 red flags in your own life, you could be on a collision course with an early grave. These warning signs are backed by medical experts and recent scientific studies, and they're not to be taken lightly. The good news? Every sign comes with actionable ways to turn things around. Let's dive in, no sugarcoating, and see what might be silently cutting your time short, and what you can do about it. Smoking. It's the #1 lifestyle killer, slicing roughly 10 years off your life on average. Every drag of a cigarette is a step closer to an early funeral. Medical research has tracked smokers for decades, and the verdict is grim. People who smoke continuously can expect to die about a decade younger than non-smokers. In fact, one long-term British study found that lifelong smokers lose at least 10 years of life compared to those who never smoked. The CDC echoes this, bluntly stating, life expectancy for smokers is at least 10 years shorter than for non-smokers. It doesn't end there. Smoking doesn't just trim your golden years. It dramatically boosts your chance of dropping dead before 70. Current smokers have nearly triple the risk of premature death from heart disease or stroke compared to never smokers. That's a 3-fold higher chance your heart will give out early. And it's not only the heart. Tobacco wreaks havoc on lungs, arteries, and pretty much every organ. About 125 Canadians die each day from smoking-related illness. More deaths per day than alcohol, opioids, and traffic accidents combined. This habit is literally a death wish in slow motion. Quit now. It's never too late to stop smoking. Studies show that those who quit by age 40 reduce their excess risk of death by about 90%. Even quitting later in life helps. Stopping at 60 can still cut your risk of premature death significantly. Talk to a healthcare provider about nicotine replacement, medications, or support programs to break the addiction. Every cigarette not smoked is time added back to your life. 2. Heavy drinking, liquid courage, early demise. Regularly pouring yourself too many drinks. You're shortening your lifespan with each toast. Alcohol abuse is a silent clock ticking down your years. Experts warn that excessive drinking accounts for 1 in 10 deaths among working-age adults in the US. Think about that. 10% of people who die in their 20s through 60s are essentially drinking themselves to death. If you're knocking back multiple drinks every single day or binging hard on weekends, you're in the danger zone. Physiologically, heavy alcohol use ravages your liver, heart, and immune system, but the numbers speak even louder. Between 2011 and 2015, booze was responsible for an average of 93,000 deaths per year in America. That's 255 people dying every day due to alcohol. On average, those deaths cut life short by about 29 years per person. Imagine throwing away decades of your life for drinks. Over the long run, chronic heavy drinkers often don't make it to old age at all. A global Lancet study found that being moderately to severely obese, often related to heavy drinking calories, or abusing alcohol sharply increased the likelihood of dying before 70, especially in men. Rein in your drinking before it reins you into an early grave. Stick to recommended limits. For example, no more than 1 drink per day for women or 2 for men, and even less is better. If you find you can't control your alcohol intake, seek help. Talk to a doctor, join support groups like AA, or consider counseling. Remember, cutting down on alcohol can literally give you back years of life that would otherwise be lost. Your 70th birthday, and many more beyond it, will thank you. 3. A sedentary lifestyle, sitting yourself to death. Couch potato alert. If you barely move all day, your body's aging faster than it should. A sedentary lifestyle is often called the new smoking, and for good reason. Long-term inactivity doubles your risk of an early death. In a large 20-year study, people who stayed inactive for 2 decades had 2x the risk of premature death compared to those who were consistently active. Translation: spend your 30s, 40s, and 50s glued to a chair, and you might not see your 70s. Physical inactivity invites killers like heart disease, stroke, diabetes, and even certain cancers. Your muscles weaken, metabolism slows, and blood pressure creeps up, all factors that slash longevity. Overall, about 8% of all deaths in adults over 25 are attributed to inadequate physical activity. Among middle-aged adults, 46, roughly 10% of deaths are due to being physically inactive. That's a huge chunk of lives that could be saved with just a bit more movement. Even shorter-term studies show alarming trends. One study found that seniors who had the lowest levels of physical activity were far more likely to die within a few years than those who stayed even moderately active. The human body simply isn't built to sit all day, and it rebels by shutting down permanently. Get up and move every single day. You don't need to become a marathoner, but you do need to avoid prolonged sloth. Aim for at least 150 minutes of moderate exercise a week, brisk walking, cycling, anything that gets your heart up. Even light activity helps. Research shows even low-dose exercise reduces mortality by 22% in seniors. Set a timer to remind you to stand up every hour, take walking meetings, or grab a quick 10-minute stroll at lunch. The key is consistency. Make movement a non-negotiable part of your life. It could be the difference between celebrating your 70th birthday or missing it. 4. Poor diet and obesity. Killing yourself by fork. Carrying a big belly into middle age, a junk food diet piling on the pounds, that's a glaring warning sign. Obesity, especially when coupled with a nutrient-poor diet, is a fast-track ticket to not reaching 70. Excess body fat strains every organ. It hikes up blood pressure, spawns diabetes, and fuels inflammation. A deadly mix that cuts lifespan. Research finds that overweight people lose about 1 year of life expectancy, while moderately obese people lose about 3 years on average. And the more overweight, the worse it gets. Extreme obesity can slash up to 14 years off your life. Numbers don't lie. A massive Lancet study of 3.9 million adults across the globe revealed a stark reality. If you have a BMI in the obese range, your chance of dying before age 70 skyrockets. For instance, moderately obese men, BMI 30-35, have nearly a 30% risk of death before 70 compared to 19% for normal weight men. That's a huge gap. Obese women likewise see their risk jump, 14.6 versus 11% for normal weight women. Essentially, obesity makes you 3 times more likely to die early, especially for men. It's a harsh truth. Those extra 50-plus pounds are not harmless love handles. They're ticking time bombs. And it's not just weight alone. What you eat directly fuels these risks. Diets high in processed meats, sugary drinks, and trans fats contribute to heart disease and cancers. Conversely, diets rich in vegetables, fruits, and lean proteins support longevity. If your daily menu resembles a fast food commercial, see burgers, fries, soda, you're accelerating wear and tear on your cells. Over years, that dietary abuse often manifests as chronic diseases in your 50s or 60s, and many don't make it much beyond that without serious health issues. Make a change at the dinner table. Shift to a diet that's mostly whole foods, vegetables, fruits, whole grains, nuts, and lean protein. Cut out the sugary beverages and excessive processed junk. If you're overweight, losing even 5 to 10% of your body weight can significantly improve blood pressure, blood sugar, and cholesterol. That can translate to extra years of life. Consider speaking with a nutritionist or using apps to track your eating habits. Remember, every healthy meal and every pound shed is an investment in years added to your lifespan. 5. Uncontrolled high blood pressure, silent killer, early killer. Do you know your blood pressure? If it's chronically high and untreated, you're at high risk of not seeing 70. Hypertension earns the nickname silent killer because it damages your heart and arteries with few obvious symptoms until a stroke or heart attack strikes. And when those strikes hit, they often prove fatal or life-shortening. Globally, high blood pressure contributes to about 10 million deaths per year, more than any other single risk factor. It's so common and so deadly that many people don't reach old age specifically because of uncontrolled hypertension. Consider this. In 2022, hypertension was a primary or contributing cause in 685,000 plus deaths in the US. That's hundreds of thousands of lives, many cut short in middle age or early senior years. The World Health Organization reports that over one-third of heart attack and stroke deaths occur in people under 70, much of it driven by high blood pressure. If you're walking around with readings like 150/100 and aren't doing anything about it, you are essentially a walking time bomb. Men aged 50 with a combination of hypertension and other factors have significantly shorter life expectancy, up to 10-15 years less than those with optimal blood pressure. Even by itself, having blood pressure above 140/90 in midlife dramatically raises the chance you won't make it to average life expectancy. The damage is cumulative. High pressure wrecks your blood vessels over time, leading to kidney failure, heart failure, vision loss, and cognitive decline. Each year that goes by with BP too high is like speeding up your body's wear and tear clock. It's a major reason many people in their 50s or 60s suddenly succumb to strokes. Don't be fooled by the silence. If your blood pressure is always high, your 70th birthday isn't guaranteed. Check your blood pressure and control it. Adopt diet and lifestyle changes that lower BP, reduce salt intake, lose excess weight, exercise regularly, and manage stress. The DASH diet, rich in fruits, veggies, and low-fat dairy, is proven to help. If lifestyle changes aren't enough, take prescribed medications consistently. They can literally save your life. Home blood pressure monitors are inexpensive. Use one to keep tabs. The goal is to get into a healthy range, around 120/80. Each tick down in those numbers is a step toward reaching and surpassing age 70. 6. Chronic stress and depression. Mental strain. Physical pain. Do you live in a state of constant stress or struggle with depression? That mental weight can crush your lifespan. Chronic stress, anxiety, and depression aren't just mind issues. They wreak havoc on the body. When you're perpetually stressed or depressed, your body is drenched in stress hormones like cortisol that, over time, damage your heart, suppress your immune system, and even promote cancer. High allostatic load. The physical wear and tear from chronic stress was found to make people 2.4 times more likely to die from cancer. And that's just cancer. Stress also contributes to strokes, heart attacks, and other fatal illnesses. Depression, similarly, has been linked to markedly higher mortality. A 60-year Canadian study found that people who have had major depression were at significantly higher risk of premature death in every era studied. The effect was especially strong in those with recurring depression. Their odds of dying young were highest. Mental illnesses like severe depression can shorten lifespan by 7 to 11 years or more, comparable to the impact of heavy smoking. Think about that. Untreated depression could steal a decade of life, similar to puffing a pack of cigarettes daily. Part of the reason is behavioral. Depressed individuals may neglect health or engage in poor eating sleeping habits, but part is direct physiological impact. Depression can lead to heart rhythm issues and inflammatory changes that invite deadly disease. Chronic stress often travels with unhealthy coping, like drinking, smoking, overeating. compounding its toll. It also interferes with sleep, and long-term sleep deprivation itself raises mortality risk. The bottom line is that a mind in constant turmoil translates to a body that can't heal or thrive, aging you faster and pushing you closer to serious illness. Prioritize your mental health as if your life depends on it, because it does. If you're under relentless stress, find ways to reduce and manage it. Practice relaxation techniques, meditation, deep breathing. Get regular exercise, a proven stress buster, and ensure you have social support or counseling. For depression or anxiety that lingers, seek professional help. Therapy and/or medications can literally be life-saving. Studies show that effectively treating depression can reverse its excess risk of mortality. Don't tough out chronic stress or depression on your own. Tackling these issues head-on not only improves your quality of life now, but greatly ups the odds that you'll have a long life in the future. 7. Early cognitive decline. Memory slipping. Red flag. Are you experiencing significant memory loss or cognitive problems in your 60s or even 50s? That's a worrisome sign your clock might be ticking faster. Cognitive decline, like frequently forgetting conversations, getting disoriented easily, or other signs of mild cognitive impairment, can foreshadow serious brain deterioration, such as dementia, on the horizon. And unfortunately, mild cognitive impairment, MCI, and dementia are strongly linked to higher mortality rates. In one study, elderly individuals with MCI had about a 59% higher risk of death than those with normal cognition of the same age. If cognitive issues begin earlier in life, it suggests underlying neuropathology that could shorten lifespan. Alzheimer's and other dementias are not just memory killers, they're life killers. Many patients diagnosed in their mid-60s or early 70s live only 5 to 10 years beyond diagnosis. If you're already showing signs of significant cognitive decline before 70, it could indicate aggressive brain aging. Additionally, cognitive decline might also reflect other health issues like uncontrolled diabetes, hypertension, or stroke history that themselves raise the risk of early death. Essentially, your brain is now the canary in the coal mine. If it's faltering, chances are high that other bodily systems are under strain too. One study noted that people with subjective cognitive decline, feeling like your memory is worsening, had 20 higher mortality risk, although this was largely explained by those who progressed to objective impairment. And those who already have dementia, they have substantially higher 5-year and 10-year mortality rates than cognitively healthy peers. It's sobering but true. Losing your mind early often means losing years of life. So if you notice serious cognitive red flags in yourself or a loved one, around retirement age or sooner, don't ignore it. Engage your brain and get medical evaluation. First, rule out treatable causes. See a doctor for a cognitive assessment. Sometimes vitamin deficiencies, thyroid issues, or medication side effects can cause memory problems, and fixing those can improve cognition. If it is early dementia or MCI, there are strategies to slow progression. Stay mentally and socially active. Puzzles, learning new skills, socializing. Eat a brain-healthy diet. Think Mediterranean diet rich in greens and omega-3s. And control vascular risk factors. Blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol. Some studies suggest that regular exercise can improve cognitive function and possibly delay dementia, and it certainly helps overall health. While you can't fully reverse serious cognitive decline, taking action can prolong independence and potentially life itself. Don't just shrug off memory loss as getting old. Address it now to increase your chances of getting much older. 8. Social isolation and loneliness. Alone now, gone too soon. Feeling chronically lonely or socially isolated. It's more than just sadness. It's shaving years off your life. Mounting evidence shows that loneliness is as deadly as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It sounds extreme, but that's the conclusion of multiple studies. Lacking social connections raises the risk of premature death by 26-32% comparable to or even greater than obesity and physical inactivity. Humans are social creatures. When we're profoundly isolated, our health suffers in tangible ways. Lonely individuals have higher stress hormone levels, poorer immune function, and more inflammation. Over years, this translates to higher rates of heart disease, dementia, and yes, earlier mortality. In one meta-analysis, both objective social isolation, living alone, having few interactions, and subjective loneliness were associated with significantly increased risk of death. Put simply, if you spend most of your time alone and feel lonely, your odds of reaching age 70, let alone 80 or 90, are notably reduced. Conversely, having strong social ties is protective. It buffers stress and encourages better health behaviors. It's not about being a social butterfly, it's about having quality connections and not living in chronic solitude. Even if you're introverted, you need a support network, people to call in tough times, someone to check on you, a sense of belonging. Those without that support system often fall through the cracks in terms of health. They may skip doctor's visits, no one to prod them, or sink into unhealthy habits. Loneliness literally hurts the heart. Research links it with higher blood pressure and risk of heart attacks. Over time, that can be fatal. If you find yourself isolated day in and day out, that's a warning sign your longevity isn't on solid ground. Reconnect and build relationships. Your life may depend on it. Make an effort to engage with others regularly. Call family members, meet up with friends, join community groups, or volunteer. If you've lost a spouse or close friends, seek out support groups or social clubs. Even a weekly card game or book club helps. Consider adopting a pet. Pets can provide companionship and purpose. Though not a complete substitute for human connection, they do help. If mobility is an issue, look into senior centers or community transportation that can help you get out. Online communities can be beneficial too. Just ensure they supplement real human contact, not replace it. The key is to avoid enduring loneliness in silence. Strengthening your social bonds not only makes life richer, it likely makes it longer. These 8 warning signs are not mere quirks. They are serious signals from experts and research that you could be on track to an early exit. The tone here was aggressive because the stakes are high. The moment to wake up and act is now. The power to change many of these factors is in your hands. Stub out the cigarettes, move your body, eat like you love yourself, take care of your mind, and reach out to others. By tackling these warning signs head-on, you tilt the odds back in your favor. 70 can be just the beginning of your golden years. If you heed the warnings and make the changes, your future self, age 70, 80, 90, and beyond, is counting on you to act today. Remember, a long, healthy life is not a matter of luck. Very often, it's a matter of choice. Choose wisely and aggressively. Your lifespan depends on it.